Hello, I'm Dave.
I'm Carrie. We are one adventure at a time, and we want to talk to you today about the sugar beet harvest. Are you thinking about it? So this is our second season of working the sugar beet harvest. We want to give you a little bit of what we've learned, some tips and tricks to make your experience better. And if you haven't checked out last year's video, I'll link it up here. We go through a day in the life of working the sugar beet harvest.
Yeah, we give you kind of a hands-on what you're going to be doing from day to day and a little bit of drone footage for the overall view of it. I think you'll find it helpful.
Yeah, so we had no idea the first year. We were very nervous about, are we going to be picking the beets out of the field? We had just no idea of what we're going to be doing. So check out that video. It shows you the machine and how the operation works, and we'll go from there. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about our most favorite thing about the sugar beet harvest.
And that's, you're going to make quite a bit of money in a short period of time.
Yes.
And for us, we can both work, plus we can watch our dogs. So there's not a lot of jobs that we can, that works for us.
Yes. Also, they put you up in an RV park, so we have electric and endless hot showers. And the work site for us was only a mile from the park.
Yeah.
So that's very convenient. We got hired at $16.90 an hour, and Montana has something called stay pay. So if you cannot work because of weather, if it's too hot, too cold, or too windy, they will call work off for that day. But each of you will get paid 4 hours for the day, for every day that they call work off.
Plus you're working a lot of 12-hour shifts, so you're going to be getting time and a half pay after 8 hours and time and a half pay on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yes. Now, something new this year, if you're thinking about working maybe in Minnesota, our friends at No Matter Where Van did Minnesota. This is the first year that Minnesota has offered stay pay. Yep. And I believe they got double time on Sundays. Yep. So wherever you go, it's a good opportunity.
Yep.
Okay, so we got a cheat sheet here. Let's talk about week 1, which we like to call Chaos Week.
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion going on. There's a lot of people on each machines, and you're learning how to be safe, and you're learning about your co-workers,
your supervisors.
Yep.
And so things are just chaotic. But we promise you, if you just bear through it, get to the next week, you'll be assigned a machine. Your crew will start to meld together. Things become easy, and then it's like routine clockwork.
Yeah, you get a nice routine going, and a lot of the stress is gone, and you just get the job done.
Yes. So just make it through Chaos Week, and you're good to go. So one of the hardest things about the sugar beet harvest is the long hours. So it's 12-hour days. We work 7 to 7. Good morning. This is day 5 of 12-hour shifts in a row. Good morning. It is day 8.
8 in a row, that is.
8 in a row of 12-hour shifts, and we are beat.
Yeah.
That is 14 12-hour days in a row that we have worked, and we are tired. And you're pretty much on your feet for 12 hours, so we were quite nervous about that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of labor going on. It's just that after you work so many of those days in a row, it starts to wear you down.
Yeah. So it's not manual labor for 12 hours, so we were really scared about that too. So sometimes you're up top and you're pushing buttons and you're pulling levers and you're directing trucks in and you're taking a sample. At some point you will be picking up beets by hand, so that is a little labor intensive. Sometimes you get in the machine and you clean the machine and you scrape those machines. That is hard.
In the belly of the machine. And it's dirty.
But it's not 12 hours of that, so don't let that scare you.
Yeah.
Okay. So the sugar beet harvest is very weather dependent.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that we'd be called off due to heat, but anytime the beets get over 55 degrees, it's an off day.
Yeah. And if they temp under 27 degrees Fahrenheit, they will not pull them out of the field. So our first week this year, it was 97 degrees for a week. So we didn't work.
Yeah. And that's one thing about Montana is, especially in the month of October, from our experience, it comes in hot and goes out cold.
Very quickly.
You have to be prepared for that.
So if it's too hot, if it's too windy, if it's too rainy, we're almost done.
Yeah,
we're tired.
Definitely tired. Starting to wear on us a little bit. And the weather
has turned.
It's turned for the worse, I guess you could say.
If it's too muddy, or if it's snowing, there's chances that you will not work. So, and we experienced all of those. Let's go into clothing.
So we've learned that for us, what works the best is pretty much bring your old clothing, even if it looks like it needs to be thrown out, and save that for the Sugar Beet Harvest. But also go to thrift stores and buy yourself warm clothing like jackets or ski pants or sweaters. Or
some layers. So this morning, like I said, it's 27 degrees Fahrenheit. We are bundled up. Dave, tell us what we're wearing.
All right, so we've got long underwear on, and then we've got like a t-shirt on over that, and then a sweater over that, and then our coat on. So we've got like, what, 4 layers on?
Yep, I got a wool base, then we got the ski mask, we got the neck buff.
Which is probably actually overdressed. But when you're out here, sometimes you're standing around, you're not doing a lot of work, so the extra clothing is appreciated.
Absolutely.
And you usually can get all that clothing fairly cheap, and then it's not a big deal if you rip it or you get hydraulic oil all over it and have to throw it away.
So I will say, do not wear your favorite clothing. Don't wear your favorite jacket, your expensive gear. You will ruin it. So we bought jackets at the thrift store for $5 each, and they got oil on them, just like he said. Our ski pants, both of our ski pants got ripped. Your rain gear got all ripped up.
Yeah.
So you are moving around and you are doing some work, so these clothes are going to take a beating. So don't wear your favorite stuff, because it probably won't come home your favorite stuff. Which leads me into shoes. Boots are probably the best. We did get away with wearing tennis shoes this year. But I will say, last year I bought a really nice pair of work boots out at the thrift store. I bought them a hair too small. And the first week of working 12-hour days, I could barely walk. And those boots had to go away.
Yeah, if you have an old pair of quality shoes or pair of boots, don't throw them out, because you can use them at the Beet Harvest, and that's the ones you want to use, something that you've been wearing around a lot, that's comfortable, and it's not going to give you blisters or any kind of foot problem.
That you don't mind if they do get extremely muddy and oil on them.
Yep.
So the first year of the Beet Harvest, because my boots were too small, I lost 5 toenails. So don't do what I did. All right, so rain gear, we always hope that you're not going to need rain gear, but every year we have needed rain gear.
Yeah, I would say at least a rain top and maybe some kind of snow pants or something that's water resistant for your pants.
Yes.
You probably could get away with just
a poncho, maybe.
Poncho.
But things get extremely muddy when it rains, so also think about your shoes in that regard. We did see our friend wore rubber boots that slipped over his boots, and I think that was probably the smartest way to go.
Super smart, because then you can wear a comfortable shoe and protect it from the mud.
So let's talk about, hands down, the hardest thing about the Sugar Beet Harvest. I think everybody who's ever worked it will agree.
Yeah, it's the mud. Because you guys are missing out. You could be here.
Playing in the mud. Look at this. It's terrible.
Because not only does it stick to your shoes and makes you like 2 or 3 inches taller, but it also
adds 10 pounds to each leg.
Yeah, it adds weight to you, and you get tired of it real quick. You're trying to get the mud off, you take one step, you get it right back on.
Yes.
And it's also really hard on the piling machines that you're working, making you have to do extra work to keep it clean.
Yeah, so when it gets muddy, they are taking the beets out of the field. Of course, the beets come in muddy, so that means that there's more mud in the machine. So about every 2 or 3 hours, we would have to shut the machines down. We climb inside the machines and we scrape the mud off. Hence, don't wear your favorite clothes because you will be covered in mud.
Yep.
That is hands down the hardest thing about the sugar beet harvest.
Yep.
When you come back to your house, like our house is our van and it's on site with us, it is impossible to get back in this van and not have mud everywhere.
Now, there's things that you can do to make it better, like you can have trash bags that you put over your feet because you're never going to want to walk in your home with muddy feet.
Yes.
Some people actually put liners over their seat, which I thought was a super smart idea.
We put old blankets and old towels down that we knew that we were going to be throwing away anyway. So when they got super muddy, we would just toss them. They, the ones that have holes in them, things like that. Also, what's really hard is if you have a dog, like we have Rudel with us, he's going to need to be walked. You ready to go for a walk, Rudel? Yeah, you ready to go? And if it's muddy, his feet get muddy.
Yeah.
So the way we worked around that is Rudel has boots that he will wear. So we would put his boots on before he went outside. We would walk him. We would take the boots off before he came back in.
Yeah, so that helped a lot this year. We didn't actually think about that last year, but we learned.
Yes.
We learned our lesson.
Yeah. So I will say your house will be very dirty. No matter how hard you try, your house is going to be dirty. So be prepared for that.
Yep.
And the mud just makes it 10 times worse. Let's go into food. So what we did last year, and it worked really well, we did it again this year, is we prepared bag lunches like you used to do when you were in school. Dave would pick all his favorites. I would pick my favorites. We had like crackers and pretzels and your choice of nuts, a candy bar. You had like oysters, the pre-packed tunas, anything that you like that you can make a lunch. Because you're working 12 hours, you don't want to come here and prepare a lunch. You just grab your bag, you sit down, you relax.
Yeah, your breaks are only 15 minutes long. Your lunch is a half an hour long, so you don't have really time to prepare anything.
Yes.
Especially if you have a pet that you want to take out for a walk. During that period of time.
So that worked really well for us. Now, breakfast, Dave doesn't eat breakfast, so I would make myself something very simple, maybe a granola bar, something like that. And dinners, we also kept that extremely simple. Bagged salads, canned soups, sandwiches.
And I recommend like paper plates and plastic silverware just for the beet harvest. We usually don't buy that stuff.
Yes.
But you are not going to feel like doing dishes after 12 hours of work.
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier that the sugar beet harvest is weather dependent. And what that means is if you have 15 perfect days in a row of weather, you will work 15 12-hour days in a row.
We have worked the last 14 days in a row, and that's 12-hour shifts, and we think we're pretty close to the last day. It's either going to be today or tomorrow. The last farmer's bringing in beets right now.
So our first year, we only worked 6 days in a row, and we would get a day or two off. This year, we worked 14 12-hour days in a row.
Plus, we had other days that we worked before that. But just getting through those 14 days was pretty tough.
It's pretty tough by day 14.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about, would you recommend this to other people who are on the fence about maybe doing this job?
Well, like our first year, I definitely felt good about recommending this job. This year was a little tougher because we had more drama. And it was just harder.
So we had new supervisors this year, and our foreman, they did not get along very well. So we were getting several mixed messages, and that made the job very hard. Now, that was chaos week, which we told you about.
Yeah, but once we got through that week, things got better, and it reminded me of last year. So the overall experience, I would recommend it.
Yes, absolutely. I would too. Now, what you should know, the first year you get hired, you usually get hired for nights. Now, nights are, in my opinion, are much harder than days. It's cold. If it's muddy or wet, you're cleaning the machines at night. You're climbing inside the belly of the machine. If we're really busy in the daytime, we don't always get to clean those machines before we leave. And so the night crew will come in and take care of that for us. So we really appreciate the night crew. I don't think they get as much recognition as they should get. But night crew is hard. So if you come in and you get hired for night crew, grin and bear it, make it through, and do next year, because then you can get the day shift, which I think is much easier.
Yeah. So there is a chance if you can't work nights and you tell them, I really want to work the beet harvest, I just can't work nights, there's a chance that they will still hire you.
Yeah.
So make sure you let them know.
Speaking of hiring, they start hiring around February, maybe March, and they hired this year all the way up into, I think, the first week of the harvest. They were still hiring people. And so you go to unbeatableexperience.com and you can fill out an application there.
Yep.
My other favorite thing is they put you up in a RV park. So you have a month of free rent, hardly any gas expense, hot showers,
electricity, everything that you could need.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sweet.
So I would definitely recommend it. So would we be back next year?
Maybe.
So because, like Dave said earlier, it's such a short amount of time where we can both work. So we can double our income, and it's only 3 or 4, maybe 5 weeks.
And we can't do that with a dog. Usually only one of us can work.
Yes.
So this is an unusual job that actually works for us.
Yeah. And it's a short job, so there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. I just got to make it to the end of October and you're free and clear.
Yep.
So our first year, just to let you know, our first year we worked 23 days. 9 of those days we could not work because of weather. So we got paid 4 hours each. We walked away after taxes with $6,400 in our pocket for 23 days of work.
Yep. So this year we ended up making more money because we worked more days.
Yeah, we were there the entire month of October this year.
And the pay was just a little bit higher than last year.
Yeah. So we estimate that this year we're probably going to be walking away in our pocket after taxes is right around $9,000.
Yep.
This is our second year, so our bonus is 10%. And because we worked more, our bonus is more because it's based on your gross.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where can you work for 5 weeks and walk away with $9,000?
Yeah, with a pet.
With a pet. Now, I will say this. Every year is different. So, some years are good. Some years are bad. You can't predict what the weather's going to do. So, 3 years ago, they had like the worst year ever. Last year was pretty phenomenal. This year was
somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But we worked a lot of hours.
Yeah.
I will say the experience, I would recommend anybody to do it at least once.
Yeah.
Because just seeing how these farmers are growing beets, pulling them out of the field, the whole process is just amazing.
Yeah. Not only that, but you'll get to interact with a lot of other nomads that maybe are doing the same kind of lifestyle you are, or something that's different and interesting. So just for that alone.
And it's nomads across the board. There's tents, there's vans, there's ambulances, there's diesel pushers, there's huge 40-foot fifth wheels, there's casita trailers. This year, a lady converted her horse trailer into her house. Yep. It's just amazing the people you meet. Not only the nomads, but the farmers and the drivers are equally as amazing.
Yep.
So I would say try it once, go for it.
Yep. And if you have any questions, please ask in the comments, because I would like to get back and answer anything that I can and try to help you out.
So we thank you for watching. We hope this video helped you, and maybe we'll see you at Harvest next year.
Yep. If you would like to support our channel, please consider becoming a patron, or check out our new merchandise at oneadvantureatatime.com. We also have stickers available in our website store. Thank you for watching.